Tap to pay with your phone in the Philippines is complicated. Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, all still not here. But GCash just launched their own version at an event that I was invited to, and I want to put it to the test. So I just came from the event, and of course the Tap to Pay worked really well there because everything is obviously programmed for it. But the real test would be if it works in the real world. Thanks for the pizza, by the way. Here's the deal. I'm going to 5 different stores and 5 different times I'm going to try to pay using GCash Tap to Pay on my Android phone. And the big question here is, can it actually go 5 out of 5? I started out right after the event in Jamba Juice BGC, but this was easy mode because they had a booth at the event. So I feel like they already make sure that this works. So I tried it out anyway. Jamba Juice was a success, but I was present at the event. They had a booth there. So that's kind of an easy mode. Let's see if we take a step further. I've been asking myself though, why is it taking this long? You might think the delay is because of regulations or red tape, but just this month, August 2025, Bangko Sentral said that Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay don't actually need to register with the BSP. So it seems like this is one of the rare times that red tape is actually not to blame this time. So if not that, then the problem must be elsewhere. But before we get to that, I think it's time for some coffee. So next up, I'm actually going to a local coffee shop that I frequent, and they do have one of those little like tiny POS card reader things. So I want to see if it works with that. So this should be a good challenge. That was definitely a success. I'm surprised that it worked. I'm glad that it works even in these like, more independent or modern looking POS systems. That's pretty cool. So if it's not red tape or regulation, then what is holding up all of these tap-to-pay services from coming into the Philippines? And it turns out it might be the banks, because at the end of the day, there is maybe not enough demand for it, so they might not see the need for it. But also number 2, these services do, I guess, charge or take a bit of a cut from these payments being made. I think Apple Pay even takes 15%, which is kind of big if it's highly adopted at some point, right? There's actually one local bank that did it themselves with their own app. And yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. Now I do need to do a little bit of shopping. We're hitting up Uniqlo and Westgate and Alabang. This area is known to have a little bit of weak signal. So let's see how this. It didn't work. Not because of the signal, but because they had one of these older BDO POS card reader things, and the sales lady just straight up said that they tried before and it just doesn't work. For some reason, the GCash would be debited, but it wouldn't go through to their system. So I think it'll just refund after a while. So yeah, this is the first fail of this whole experiment. So now we're 2 out of 3. Come on, GCash, step it up. There is a local bank that didn't want to wait for any of these tap-to-pay payment apps to work. And it's EastWest Bank. They made their own version of Android-only tap-to-pay that works with their bank customers, obviously, and I believe it's Visa. So it's not the most inclusive option, but then again, it was started, I think last year that was. But GCash, on the other hand, probably has a wider adoption potential because a lot of people do have GCash and it doesn't rely on the bank. And if you excuse me, I'll finish my shopping and we'll try for our 4th test in Metro Supermarket. Let's see if it works. So unfortunately, that also was a fail. We're now at 2 for 4, which is not too great, but also not too bad, I guess, right in the middle. The issue there, which is a real life scenario, was that all of the POS systems in Metro grocery store do not accept tap-to-pay anything. So to be fair, that isn't necessarily the fault of GCash's tap-to-pay feature. It just, any card wouldn't be able to tap-to-pay. So as a bonus, we did try to go to Starbucks and it did go through. So that's, I guess I'll count that as 3 for 4, but that's just kind of a bonus 3 for 4. I want to ask, given that the challenge when it comes to having or not having NFC capabilities in the POS system, does your phone have NFC? I know a lot of, almost every sort of Android phone now moving forward from mid-range up comes with NFC built in. Because that also makes a big difference in the demand or how often this will be looked for or used, I guess, right? And next time we're gonna be trying a convenience store, something that is a vital part of people's everyday lives. So let's see how that works. Spending Pwede kong i-test yung yung GCash na tap to pay. Parang siyang card lang. Okay lang. Kung hindi gumana, di ba nang gamitin ko?
Generate QR.
Hindi. Sa card po yung tap to pay.
Ano po ba yun, sir?
May tap to pay kasi na GCash. Parang siyang card.
Okay.
Pwede kong i-try. Oo, try ko. Gusto ko lang subukan na. Okay, gumana.
Receipt pa po, sir?
Sige po. So that actually worked pretty well. I'm kind of surprised. That was either a 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 6 if you want to be more fair. But I guess that seems like, for the most part, the GCash Tap to Pay works fine. And the reality is that I was forcing the issue for it to be Tap to Pay because, if you use a credit card and you only use Tap to Pay, they will say sometimes that you have to insert the chip or you have to swipe or whatever. So that's just kind of par for the course, I guess. And we haven't even considered the fact that GCash has 3 options to pay. There's the QR, the GCash card, and of course now Tap to Pay. So in a real life situation, you can actually probably pay in almost any way with GCash, which is pretty impressive at this point. And when it comes to the global players like Apple, Samsung, Google Pay coming in, the banks will have to see some real demand for this to make sense. I don't know if this first few steps in opening up Tap to Pay to majority of people in the Philippines might change some things, but that's gonna have to happen. Would you trust or even prefer Tap to Pay for your daily purchases if Samsung, Apple, or Google came in with their payment services? Is that something you would value or choose over others or make a shift in favor of? Let me know in the comments down below. I will respond. I love conversing with you guys down there. Yeah, and if you want more tech tests in real life or design talk, hopefully you consider subscribing. I am planning to post here more regularly. This is 2 weeks in a row now. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.